I always believed that if my wife ever cheated on me, I would see it coming. There would be signs, whispers in the air, late-night texts, a new perfume she never wore before, or that guilty look people can't quite hide. But what I discovered shattered every expectation, every theory, and every ounce of common sense I had. She wasn't cheating with her boss. She wasn't cheating with a gym trainer. She wasn't even cheating with a man. The day I found out, I felt like I had been dropped into the middle of a soap opera, one of those late-night dramas where betrayal drips from every scene, and the audience is left screaming at the screen. The kind of scandal that makes people lean forward, eyes wide, gripping their seats because they cannot believe what they're witnessing. But this wasn't TV. This was my life, and the worst part? I didn't walk in on them immediately. No. I had to suffer. I had to notice the little things, the suspicious patterns, the way she changed, until I was tangled so deep in my suspicions that I couldn't eat, sleep, or even think straight. For weeks, I became an actor in my own home, pretending not to see what was right in front of me, playing the role of the devoted husband while my wife lived a life I was never meant to discover. But I did, and once I knew the truth, there was no going back. It started with something small, a whisper. Not an actual whisper, but something that felt like one, a faint change in the air that didn't sit right. Sarah, my wife of 8 years, had always been predictable. She loved her morning coffee with exactly 2 sugars, never 1 or 3. She hated cooking, so I did most of it. She binge-watched soap operas but never cried over them. She was a creature of habit. A routine woman, until suddenly. She wasn't. It began with her phone. She used to leave it anywhere, on the kitchen counter, on the bed, even in the bathroom. But one night, as I walked past her in the living room, I noticed how quickly she flipped her screen downward. I didn't say anything. Maybe it was a work thing. Maybe she was reading something private. Maybe. Just maybe. It was nothing. But a few days later, I heard her laughing at something. Not just any laugh, one of those deep belly laughs. The kind of laugh she hadn't given me in years. When I asked what was funny, she simply said, "Oh, nothing. Just a silly meme." She never showed me. Again, I brushed it off. But as the days passed, the whispers turned into echoes. Her showers got longer. She started wearing perfume even when she wasn't going anywhere special. And then, the most damning thing, she started going to bed later than me. That was the first real crack in the illusion. Sarah loved sleep. She would be in bed by 10, no matter what. But now, she stayed up past midnight, her face glued to her phone. Still, I told myself it was nothing. Until one night, I woke up and found her side of the bed empty. And that's when the real nightmare began. At first, I thought Sarah was in the bathroom. But when I checked, the door was wide open, the lights off, and no sound of running water. I stepped out into the dimly lit hallway, my heart pounding for no reason I could understand. Then I heard it. A soft murmur. It was coming from the living room. I walked carefully, the wooden floor cool against my bare feet. I peered around the corner and saw her, sitting on the couch, phone pressed to her ear, whispering. I held my breath. Sarah had never been a whisperer. She was the type to talk loudly on the phone, sometimes even on speaker. But this was different. Her body language was off. She was hunched slightly forward, her fingers twisting the hem of her nightshirt. I couldn't make out what she was saying, but I caught a few words. "No, you're crazy." A soft giggle. "Not now." "I can't." My stomach twisted. I took a step closer, but then she froze. Had she sensed me? For a second, I thought she had. She turned her head slightly, her eyes flicking toward the hallway. I pressed my back against the wall, heart racing. I could hear my own pulse in my ears. Then, after what felt like forever, she sighed. "Okay. Good night." I waited until I heard the phone click before I moved. By the time I stepped into the living room, she was already on her feet. "Hey," I said casually, pretending to rub my eyes. "Couldn't sleep?" She gave me a tight smile. "Just couldn't fall asleep. Thought I'd scroll through my phone for a bit." "Who were you talking to?" She hesitated. Just for a second. But I caught it. Oh, just Lisa, she said, referring to her best friend. She couldn't sleep either. Lies. Lisa was a loudmouth who couldn't keep a secret to save her life. If Lisa had called at this hour, I would have known about it the next day, but I nodded anyway. I let it go, because I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. The next few days I watched. Sarah didn't know it, but I was observing every move she made. She was careful. Too careful. Her phone never left her side. When I entered a room, she'd tilt the screen away. She spent more time getting ready, even when she wasn't going anywhere special. And then, one evening, I noticed something that made my blood turn cold. She smelled different. Sarah had worn the same perfume for years, Chanel Coco Mademoiselle. It was soft, familiar. But tonight, when she walked past me, I caught something else. It was muskier. More intense. A scent I didn't recognize. New perfume? I asked. She hesitated. Then she shrugged. Yeah, Lisa got it for me. Lisa again. Lisa was either the greatest alibi in history or Sarah was getting sloppy. I played dumb. I acted like I believed her. But inside I was burning. Who was she doing this for? Who was she dressing up for? Who was she whispering to at night? I needed answers, and I was about to get them, because Sarah was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. It was a Saturday afternoon when the opportunity came. Sarah was in the shower. Her phone was on the nightstand unguarded. I had never checked her phone before. I never needed to. But now my hands were shaking as I picked it up. I knew her password. Of course I did. But as I typed it in, my heart pounded so hard I thought it would break through my chest. The screen unlocked. Messages. I went straight to them. I scrolled past Lisa's name, past her coworkers, past harmless family chats, until I saw it. A name I didn't recognize, just a single letter. I clicked, and what I saw nearly knocked the breath out of me. I miss you. Last night was amazing. I can still taste you. My head spun. I gripped the phone so tightly my fingers ached. Who the hell was M? And why was my wife talking to them like this? I scrolled further, my stomach twisting into knots. We have to be careful. He almost caught me last night. Me, I was shaking. Then, before I could read more, the shower turned off. I panicked. With lightning speed, I put the phone back and walked out of the bedroom, pretending I had just been stretching. Sarah came out minutes later, towel wrapped around her, her face calm. She had no idea that her secret was now my secret too. But she would find out soon, because I wasn't going to let this go, not until I knew the truth. I couldn't unsee those messages. I couldn't unhear them in my head, over and over. Last night was amazing. He almost caught me. I had been sleeping beside a woman who was lying to my face. A woman who had a secret lover. A woman who was careful, calculated. But not careful enough. I wanted to confront her right then and there. But something held me back. I needed more. If I accused her now, she'd deny everything. She'd delete the messages, twist the truth, make me look crazy. No. I had to be smart. I had to catch her in the act. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I became a spy in my own home. For the next few days, I watched Sarah closer than ever. I started noting everything. When she left the house, how long she was gone, whether she came home smelling different. I tracked her phone when she wasn't looking. I knew I was crossing a line, but what choice did I have? Then, one evening, she made a mistake. She said she was going to Lisa's house. But Lisa posted an Instagram story, at a restaurant, miles away. Sarah wasn't with her. She was somewhere else, with someone else. I felt sick. My stomach twisted into knots as I sat in the living room, staring at my phone. Then, an idea hit me. I texted her, me. Hey babe. How's Lisa? She responded almost immediately. Sarah. Good. Just having some wine and catching up. Might be home a little late. Lies. She was lying to my face in real time. My fingers clenched around my phone. I wanted to drive to wherever she was, storm in, and catch her red-handed. But I knew she wouldn't be that careless. No. I had to be patient, because the truth was about to reveal itself in the worst way possible. A few nights later, I finally got my moment. Sarah had been extra affectionate lately. Guilty behavior. She kissed me more, held my hand, laughed at my jokes a little too hard. It only made me angrier. That night, she said she had a work dinner. Another lie. I pretended not to care. I kissed her goodbye, watched her leave. Then followed her. She drove across town, not to an office or a restaurant, but to a quiet residential street. She parked. Got out. Walked up to a door. I parked a few houses down, watching from a distance. My heart was beating out of my chest. The door opened. A figure stood there. Sarah smiled, a smile I hadn't seen in years. Then the figure stepped into the light, and my entire world collapsed. Because it wasn't a man, it was a woman, and not just any woman. It was my sister. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I blinked, hoping my eyes were lying to me. But there they were, Sarah and my sister, holding each other in the doorway, their bodies close, their hands brushing. I felt like I was dying. How? How? My mind raced back to all the signs I had missed. The whispers, the perfume, the text messages from Melissa. My own blood. I wanted to burst out of the car, scream, demand answers, but I was frozen in place. This wasn't just cheating. This was something worse. This was betrayal on a level I never imagined. I watched in horror as they stepped inside, closing the door behind them. And I knew that everything I thought I understood about my marriage, about my family, was a lie. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember climbing into bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind burning with a million questions. But I remember the rage. It was slow, creeping, a storm building inside me. By the time Sarah came home that night, I was ready. She walked in, humming softly, her face glowing. She didn't expect me to be awake. "Hey, babe," she said, pulling off her jacket. I stayed seated on the couch, watching her. "Did you have fun at your work dinner?" I asked. My voice even. She froze for half a second, just long enough for me to notice. Then she laughed. "Yeah, it was good. Just the usual office talk." I nodded slowly. "Right. And Melissa was there too?" Silence. The color drained from her face. She blinked at me, her mouth opening slightly. What?" I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "Don't lie to me, Sarah." She took a step back. I don't know what you're talking about." I grabbed my phone, pulled up a photo I had secretly taken, her and Melissa at the door. I held it up. She stared at it, and in that moment I saw everything: the guilt, the fear, the realization that she was caught. Tears welled up in her eyes. I cut her off. "Don't even try." Her lip trembled. "I didn't want you to find out like this." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Oh? And how exactly were you planning on telling me? Over breakfast?" "Hey, honey, by the way, I've been sleeping with your sister?" Her face crumbled. But I wasn't done. "How long?" I demanded. "How long has this been going on?" She hesitated. "How long, Sarah?" 2 years. 2 years. The room spun. I had been a fool for 2 whole years. I turned away, gripping my head, my entire world crumbling. She reached for me. "Please listen." I stepped back. "Don't touch me." Tears streamed down her face. "I never wanted to hurt you." I clenched my fists. "You didn't just hurt me. You destroyed me." She sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to happen." "Stop." I took a deep breath. "You made a choice. You both did." Silence. She looked at me, pleading. "I still love you." I shook my head. "No. You don't. Because love isn't deception. Love isn't betrayal. Love isn't sneaking around with my own sister." I walked toward the door, my heart hammering. "Where are you going?" she cried. I paused, turned back, and gave her a look that burned with every ounce of pain she had caused me. "Away from you." And then I walked out. The divorce was ugly. The fallout with Melissa was worse. My family was torn apart. Friendships ended. But in the end I survived, because the truth had set me free, and some betrayals can never be forgiven.
Please subscribe, like, comment and share this video. It means a lot to us. Thank you.